There was a moment in ancient Egypt when destiny was not inherited. It was tested, not on the battlefield, not in public ceremony, but in silence beneath stone, beneath flame, beneath the illusion of power itself. This was the final trial, the one no crown could bypass. The initiation that determined whether a man would rule or be ruled by forces he did not understand. If you seek the deeper story behind Egypt's hidden initiations, the trials of fire, soul, and kingship, subscribe to Sacred Nile Chronicles and walk this path with us to the very end. Before Egypt trusted a man with the throne, it demanded something far more dangerous than loyalty. It demanded inner mastery. The Egyptians knew a truth modern history often ignores. A ruler without inner discipline becomes a weapon turned inward. Power without mastery does not govern, it consumes. That is why the final trial existed, not to crown kings, but to filter them. This initiation did not occur in the open. It was held far from temples and crowds, in chambers where titles dissolved and lineage meant nothing. Here, every candidate, prince, or priest entered alone. No symbols of rank, no royal names, no witnesses, only the self. The trial unfolded in stages, each designed to dismantle a different illusion. First came fire, not as punishment, but as exposure. Initiates were led into chambers where heat distorted perception. Flames reflected not outward danger, but inner instability. Fear caused the fire to surge. Pride caused it to tower. Hesitation caused it to close in. Those who reacted, who fought the flames or begged the gods, failed immediately. Fire in Egypt obeyed clarity, not strength. Many never passed this first threshold. But fire alone was not the final judge. Those who survived were brought deeper, into silence, into darkness. Here, the soul itself was tested. The Egyptians called it the confrontation with the Ka, the inner double, the unseen self that carried consciousness beyond death. In this chamber, the initiate faced reflections that did not mirror the body, but the psyche. Hidden motives surfaced. Unresolved fear took form. Ambition spoke in familiar voices. Some fought these visions, others denied them. Both paths led to collapse, because the Ka could not be commanded by force, only recognized. Those who could stand still, who did not flee from what emerged, began to understand the deeper law of kingship. You cannot rule what you refuse to face. Halfway through this journey, it is worth pausing, because what you are hearing is not myth. It is psychology encoded as ritual, power translated into initiation. If you value this deeper reading of Egypt's hidden science, subscribe to Sacred Nile Chronicles. What remains is the most important part of the story. The final stage was neither fire nor shadow. It was judgment. The initiate was brought before a single flame, small, steady, unmoving. Unlike the earlier fires, this one did not react violently. It waited. The priest asked no questions. The flame did the judging. If the initiate carried deceit, the flame fractured. If ambition outweighed responsibility, it dimmed. If fear remained unresolved, it flickered. But when clarity was complete, when the Ka was aligned, the flame expanded softly, without force. This was a sign, not of perfection, but of readiness. Only then was the initiate permitted to return, not as a king yet, but as someone capable of becoming one. Here lies the secret that closed Egypt's year, and perhaps explains its longevity. Kingship was never considered a right. It was a burden that could crush the unprepared. The final trial existed to protect the people as much as the throne, because Egypt understood something timeless. A ruler who has not faced his own darkness will impose it on the world. This is why the system eventually vanished, not because it failed, but because later generations chose inheritance over initiation. Crowns replaced trials, bloodlines replaced discipline, and the safeguards disappeared. What remains today are fragments, symbols, whispers in stone, but the pattern is still visible. Fire to test fear, shadow to expose truth, judgment to determine readiness. Not just for kings, but for anyone entrusted with power. As we close this year, remember this: Egypt's final trial was not about gods or myth. It was about responsibility. And that is why it still speaks across centuries, across cultures, across time. If this journey through Egypt's deepest initiation resonated with you, subscribe to Sacred Nile Chronicles. The path does not end here, but this chapter does.